is SaaS going away? And is everybody who's working on a laptop not going to have a job in the future?
I am completely on the abundance side.
Let's go, baby.
I absolutely expect that these AI tools and agents will have an impact on SaaS. It's just a value exchange when you decide to buy software versus build it. Now we can technically build our own CRM pretty quickly. But when it comes to like maintaining it and innovating it, the compliance and security needed, I would rather pay someone so that we can focus on our actual business.
Now, there is a very special person who has just joined us on the show. We're talking about Alex Beller. Rumor has it that deep in his family lineage is Alexander Graham Bell. Okay. Alexander Graham Bell, chief innovator, big brain, creator of the phone. And Alex has taken that lineage of innovation on so much that they had to add an ER to the last name, Alex Beller, right? And so SMS marketing obviously taking it to the roof. Everybody welcome president and co-founder of Postscript, Alex Beller. Get in here. Yes.
Let's go.
Finally.
That's the kind of energy we need, Alex.
We need that. We need that.
Oh, I'm fired up. It is so good to see you both.
Yes.
Let's go.
Man, it is so good to see you.
I'm in a co-working space in Bend, Oregon, and I don't know anyone here. And a bunch of strangers just walked up to the conference room window to look at me because I was screaming. That's really good stuff.
You tell them, get out of here.
Energy. That's the energy we want.
We need.
Yeah, no, I'm with my guys. What's going on?
Bend, Oregon.
Colin, Chris.
Man, we're so glad. We're so glad to have you. And you know, this has been a long time coming. I mean, it's part of this show's creation was through a phone call to you, my friend. I mean, that is the truth. That is the case.
Well, I contributed nothing, but I would say I bore witness in the early days, maybe just a little
bit. That.
Which that's an honor by itself.
We appreciate that. Well, man, we are so excited to have you on. You know that, man, what we do in e-commerce, which I know and love and enjoy every day, it's inextricably tied to what we're able to do with developing technology. I mean, without tech and its developments, and it's getting better and faster and doing more for us, we couldn't sell and do what we do on the internet. Man, there's been so much happening on the internet lately. You know, Anthropic's, lead for security is leaving to go and write poetry and retire
be a poet.
on the beach. He's going to be a poet. Yes. There's co-founders of XAI that are leaving, and there's articles that are out now. I was just reading one today that I thought was so poignant. But essentially, his take was, man, in the coming years, 50% of white collar jobs are going away, and maybe SaaS goes away altogether because AI is developing AI itself now. Man, give us your perspective. Is SaaS going away? And is everybody who's working on a laptop not going to have a job in the future?
I am completely on the abundance side.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I'm completely entirely there. I think, look, have you all vibe coded stuff? I'm sure you both have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It is an incredible tool.
Yeah.
It has let me, a essentially non-technical person, build like live SaaS apps that are integrated into things and web apps. It's wild. Having said that, the polish, the maintenance, like I absolutely expect that these AI tools and agents will have an impact on SaaS, right? I think that they're potentially going to create way more competition. I think that there's also like the dynamics of having people be able to build their own tools. I think all that might drive prices down potentially. But if you think about it's just a value exchange when you decide to buy software versus build it, right? At any point.
Yeah.
And there's been a shift on that economic dial where it's much easier and cheaper to build things than ever before. But like using the example of like Salesforce, which gets brought up a lot, right? Postscript uses Salesforce. It's like our central CRM. There's all these tools plugging into it, etc. Now we can technically build our own CRM pretty quickly. But when it comes to like maintaining it and innovating it and like the compliance and security needed, like all of those things, I would rather pay someone so that we can focus on our actual business. And I think that dynamic like just isn't going to shift where like, look, if someone used to pay like Monday.com, you know, $10,000 a month for like a really basic project management tool, that's probably at risk, right? But fundamentally, like we all want to focus on our businesses. So if we can pay, you know, a competitive rate to have someone else care about innovating and focusing and developing and polishing like this and keeping secure this like piece of technology, that's worth the premium on our focus alone. That's my point of view. Where are you guys at?
Well, go ahead, Colin.
I think you brought up a really good point that not a lot of people talk about enough is the security aspect of this.
Yes, exactly.
Is going to create a nightmare scenario for some businesses where there's just going to be back doors for some softwares, and they're like, oh yeah, we have no idea that this is there. And so there's a ton of vulnerability that's basically being built out that people are unaware because they're just vibe coding it. I just think that is an amazing point you brought up. Security is definitely top of mind for me as you're building this out.
Yeah, I think vibe coding is awesome. I think we also see that sometimes it kind of sucks. Let's be honest. I've got several.
It's a grind.
It's a grind. I've got agents running right now, and guess what? They mess up every day. They do. They do. They mess up every day. Do I want to bite off a significant, very important piece of my business and try and make it my own and then be responsible for all of the security risks to that? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
No, I mean, I think about our space a lot, right? And I talk to customers about this a lot where they're like, oh, you know, like what's going to happen to like SMS days? Because SMS is really expensive. And I'm like, where would you start with compliance?
Exactly.
Like, where would you start? Like every one of we have like 25,000 customers who use Postscript. Every one of them would need to become experts in SMS marketing compliance. And like, they need to be working on their businesses, not
exactly.
That. And so I don't think that all software and all like service providers are just going to evaporate one day. Though I do think the economics could shift a lot.
Well, give us more insight here, Alex, on, I think, actually, Adam brought it up when we had him on.
I don't trust that guy. I don't trust him. If he said it, I'm completely disagreeing immediately. Yeah.
Well, one of the points that he brought up that I thought was so profound that I'd love more of your mind share on is conversational data being the new oil. And extracting that, the power of that for your business. Obviously, I think you guys are making those capabilities now for your customers, but just give us more on that, because I see it as an incredibly exciting piece of this new era of e-commerce. And frankly, I still know too little about it.
Yeah. So here's what's going on. All of us are going to ChatGPT, to Claude, to Gemini, and we're talking to them about like what's going on in our lives, and we're asking questions, and we're getting recommendations of products and solutions and ideas and all that stuff. I'm sure you two are both like constantly talking to the bots.
Yeah,
I'm constantly talking to the bots. That is a pull motion, right? These bots, they're getting so much context about who we are based on the back and forth that we have, right? You see those like things on X where someone will be like, use this prompt in ChatGPT, and it's like, what should I know about myself, right? And you tend to get back interesting stuff. And they're getting so much context about us, from our tone to what questions we're asking, to what we're working on, to what we're like uploading to give them context in particular. And that can provide a pretty enriching conversational experience, and that can have them give you relevant information back. That's a pull model. But these LLMs are really powerful, and they aren't just inside the walled garden. Other companies can build tools with them as well. And so what we're starting to see in the brand space is that they're building their own agents for the push side of things, right? So what I mean by that is, if you are Jones Road Beauty and you're like running your messaging program, and you have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, you run this like big list, and you can talk to them whenever you want through the list. people are being trained, consumers are being trained on how to engage with agents back and forth and how to shop with them back and forth. That's what we're doing on ChatGPT. So why would brands not do that through their own surfaces, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's more of like taking this consumer training that's happening and making it so that like that's how people interact directly with brands as well. That's like what's happening. And what we're seeing is there's really crazy examples of brands standing up their own conversational agents and humans, their shoppers, giving them like insane context, being like, the bot will be like, what are you shopping for today? And they'll talk about, foot problems they have. They'll talk about like skin concerns. They'll talk about aging. They'll send pictures in and they'll get back incredibly, incredibly relevant product recommendations. And so that's what I think is happening in two big buckets. I think like consumers are being trained right now on how to interact with these agents. And the technology exists for brands to have their own branded owned agents as well. And so like these two things are happening. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a ton of adoption of consumer facing brand agents that help people shop and sell and use, to your point, use like all that zero party data that people are getting trained on sharing to enrich the experience, which is cool, which is like fundamentally, it's like, yeah, personal shoppers are like, that's a cool thing. If they're really relevant and it's like enriched, like, yeah, I love to shop. I love to buy.
Yeah.
But I don't love to browse.
Yeah.
Right? Like an agent's kind of perfect for me.
Yeah. They jumping off of this point too is this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Amazon reported a record number of people interacting with their in-platform chatbot, Rufus, to actually make and lead to purchases. And this was kind of this moment where I was talking to Chris about this. I'm like, this is basically like, the validation moment where people are actually getting trained on, we're going to talk with Gemini, we're going to talk with Rufus, we're going to talk, and then we're going to trust whatever comes out of this thing and then purchase, which is wild.
They're getting really good. They're getting so good.
Alex, standing up my own agent just feels a little scary for me on the brand side. I'd rather just do it with Shopper, or is there any kind of ability that you guys are creating on that side?
So I do think that the actual like technical challenges are interesting. Where here's what I mean. If you're going to have an agent talking to customers for you, you want them to have correct information, right? You want them to be like as good as a human and make relevant recommendations. That sounds really easy. It's actually quite complicated because e-commerce businesses are messy. All businesses are messy and hard to be perfect. Let me give you an example. It is common for a piece of information on the PDP of a product to completely contradict something that's in like the back-end product description. That's like true. A totally common little human oversight.
Yeah.
So which piece of information does an agent go with when they're like answering a question, right? Does it just like straight up hallucinate? Because agents love to just give you a warm, nice answer and hallucinate. I'll give you another example. Some e-com businesses are selling like 15 SKUs. Some have 100,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Loading all of that context into an agent on demand is like a technical feat right now. That is not something that happens out of the box. So here's another one. Brand voice, controlling brand voice, right? Yeah. Every brand has a different voice. The ChatGPT voice is the ChatGPT voice. Brands don't, that isn't their own thing.
Yeah.
But some brands use emojis, some don't. Some are really warm and fresh. Some are very precise. Some are like effusive and some are really tight. And so controlling across all those surfaces I just mentioned, like accurate product information, minimizing hallucinations, brand control, that stuff. I think when we started off our shopper initiative, we were like, this is going to be fast and easy. And it's actually been a grind. And now it's in a really, really good place. But solving some of these problems, like an agent can't give incorrect information. It can't make stuff up. Here's a great one. When you tell an agent to maximize sales, which is what brands want, these things are really smart, but also really dumb. So what do? They're like, great, I'll start testing stuff and I'll start maximizing sales.
Oh no.
You know what works really well?
90% off.
90% off. You know what works really well? Saying that there's only one left in stock.
There we go. Yeah, baby.
And these things, they're ghosts. They don't have a conscience. So,
that's amazing.
Like building all the safeguards against that is actually like, quite an engineering feat.
These things are ghosts. They have no conscience. There's one left. Do you want it?
Yeah. And look, the three of us all know that does drive results. It doesn't lead to happy, consumers or brands, but it sells.
That'll sell. Big discount, only one left. Yeah. That will sell. That dog will hunt. Well, Alex, I think that obviously I really believe we are in a new era. And I think all of the things that you just described and those new hurdles to be tackled and overcome, like that you guys have been grinding on in Shopper. It makes me think of that quote that I can't pull right now. It's like, we did this not because it was easy, but because we thought it would be easy, or something like that.
Sure.
There's so many things where I'm like, oh yeah, AI will handle it. Actually, it's a grind.
Yeah.
But this is a new era. I think Sean Frank called it Ecom 4.0. What are you excited about in this era? And do you see more entrenched winners who are already they're already there? Do they have the advantage, or does the one-man brand, the guy who is a maestro of robots and agents, does the underdog have the advantage in this new era?
Yeah. So, great question. I am a huge believer in the underdog here.
Me too.
And I'll say why. I really believe in like the efficiency of the e-commerce market, right? Like, you can charge a certain amount for products given like your brand profile and what the like competitive set of products are. And if there is someone out there who is like agent supercharged and is running their business, 250% more efficiently than an established competitor, then like they will have more budget to deploy into acquisition. They will have like more budget to absorb like, slightly lower margins. Like that will make their business, those things, like we know those are real levers that'll make their business like grow more than potentially, an established player that doesn't utilize those same efficiencies. Having said that, I also believe in like the long-term power of brand, and like you just can't stand up a new brand overnight. So I think that like we're going to go through a transition period here. And, I'm already seeing in the SaaS side, people build real businesses with like one person. And that's like really, really exciting and really cool. But we're going to go through a transition. And I think that like, I don't believe that, the e-commerce giants are suddenly going to disappear. I think that if people continue to go through and pursue, reasonable transformation, then like they can win in the next era. But I'm really betting on the upstarts. I think that like we're going to see really efficient brands pop up that probably didn't exist before and have probably like different go-to-market motions and different like product development motions than existed before too, right? That's just like, that's the beauty of this like super dynamic economy is that like huge new opportunity. A bunch of people are going to like figure out new playbooks, and like they're going to be the first ones there, and they're going to get the arbitrage.
Colin, does that make you want to start a brand again? Does that
absolutely not? It is so not at all. It's so hard.
I said didn't work on you at all.
It worked on me. It worked on me, Alex. It worked on me.
Selling physical products is one of the hardest things in the whole world, and then shipping physical products definitely sucks.
For sure.
Alex, question for you coming up. I always talk about with Chris basically some stuff that I'm super fired up about with new AI tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One of the ones I'm super fired up with is Super Whisper. I've basically like used it in my workflow, and it's like revolutionized what I've been doing. Is there anything you're playing around with right now where you're like, this has completely kind of transformed my workflow, where, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, I wasn't even using this thing, and now I use it every day?
Yeah. So I'm on a similar tip as you in that I'm using a different product. I'm using like Whisper Flow, but I think they're the same thing, like dictation stuff. So for me at Postscript, we have a big written culture where like we do memos And I know that sounds really corporate, but like everyone works remotely. Like when you're trying to align a group or like really think through a problem, like sitting down, writing it out can help.
Yeah.
And I like to do that, but I'm way faster at dictating.
Yeah.
And so I have what I built out. I've uploaded like tons of like pieces of content that I've written and developed a voice card, which is like a one page thing that's essentially like, this is my voice. This is like how an LLM should write in my voice. And I'll give that to an agent along with like a big dictation I made.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to make a memo around this point. Like, can you clean this up and, you know, deliver it in this format, in this voice? And that probably takes 1/10 the time and gets me like 85% of the way there.
Wow.
Right. And like that isn't rocket science. That's not like a magic new tool, but it's a workflow that is like changed how I work pretty meaningfully, which is super cool. And that is one that at the moment I'm extremely like leaned into and ramped up on.
I'm trying to get Chris on the train.
I'm yet.
I'm trying to get him on the train.
I'm yet to be there, and I think the missing step is what you just said about your voice card, because whenever I dictate, it comes out, and I'm using WhisperFlow too, but it comes out. It comes out higgledy-piggledy, and it's just, you know, it's just like a blob of text. I'm like, come on.
And you have a brand, and we can't compromise on that, right? We can't be having content from you that's like the ChatGPT voice.
No,
the market would reject it. I would be upset, right?
I
would be sad, you know. So no, I get that. I hear that. But I think you could like, you know, upload some stuff, figure out a little voice card, so it at least gives back to you like, you know, something that like with a quick rewrite is good for you.
That's what I need to get. That's what I need to get. I know that you are a busy man, Alex, and we so appreciate you joining the show, but I cannot let you get out of here without touching on Texas SB 140. This was a giant, huge milestone and happening inside of our space that I just felt, number one, was too little talked about leading up to. I could not find anybody talking about it on X. There was no help to be had from any of the partners. And for people who don't know, Texas SB 140, essentially it was restricting e-commerce or hardly anybody from sending a text to customers who had already opted in, because we were being categorized as scammers, you know, people who are, you know, cold outreach, etc. And you guys did the opposite of everyone else. You said, no, don't go hand Texas $10,000. We are going to fight this, and we're going to take this to court and talk to the legislators who are in charge and make them see how they have gotten this wrong. And it worked. It worked. You guys did it. You did the whole of Ecom a solid.
It worked.
And it just has not been talked about enough in my mind.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I mean, thanks for bringing it up, guys. It's something that we're super proud of. Because we want to be the best at messaging.
Yes.
We've invested for a long time in this compliance stuff, and we have, I think we have the best legal team in business, which is not something you like often hear is people raving about their legal department. We have this incredible legal team, led by Elliot and David. And the funny backstory here is David Carter, who's Postscript's head of regulatory and litigation. He was our like SMS lawyer when we were like three dudes in the garage.
All right.
We saw some YouTube videos from him, and we're like, oh, he's great. We don't know what we're doing at all. And we just like reached out to him, and he like got on the phone with us on a Sunday and like talked us through it. So we've known him for years. He eventually joined Postscript. And when he did, he came to us and he was like, hey, I think that there's an opportunity to actually go out and change some of these like loopholes that exist around the country that create room for ambulance chasing. Because we know that brands deal with so much ambulance chasing. They deal with the ADA stuff. They deal with all these things. And so David is such an expert, and he was like, I have a vision here. And he helped us incubate and create this thing called the EIA, the Ecom Innovation Alliance, which is an independent trade group. A whole bunch of people are members of it. And what that trade group does, and it's kind of incubated by Postscript and we're involved, but it is an independent thing, is what it's done is it's gone out and it's testified and it's filed lawsuits and it's consulted on laws all across the country. It's like submitted notes to FCC rulemaking. It's, testified in a bunch of different states. It's partnered with lawmakers or lobbyists to get a bunch of local laws like reversed and changed or blocked in a bunch of places. And the reason for this is because what happens is lawmakers, they hear complaints from their voters about spam texts.
Yeah.
And they're like, we got to do something. But none of them have any idea how like the ecosystem or how messaging works. So they pass terrible laws. They pass horrible laws that impact like legit businesses sending opt-in messages, which is the e-com space.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened in Texas. And they passed this law. And it was so onerous. It was like, you need to file a $10,000 bond.
Yeah.
You can't send it, all this crazy stuff for people that have opted in, because it didn't really differentiate between people who've opted in and didn't, and like true cold telemarketing. So we went down there, we filed a lawsuit against the state of Texas. And the attorney general's office, when they like sat down with us and they heard everything that was going on, and they had us walk them through it, they were like, we're going to settle. We're like not going to like fight out to defend this, because like we don't think the intention of the law was to hurt legit businesses. And so everyone else in the space was like fear mongering. People had stopped sending it to Texas. It was a huge mistake. And a lot of people had gone and registered with the $10,000 bond, which we were like, no, don't do that. And so it was a huge win. I'm like very proud of the team. I'm happy for the industry. And the truth is like, that was a high profile one. That's one of many. We're like active in a bunch of different states right now on the federal level, just because plaintiffs' attorneys, the people who file these ambulance chasing lawsuits, they're out there on the other side of this. They're lobbying for these sorts of laws to get passed so they can sue brands. And so we're trying to build a big coalition. I mean, everyone should join the Ecom Innovation Alliance. It's doing good work, but we're going to keep fighting the good fight too.
Wow, man, we really appreciate you doing that, and the EIA doing that on all of our behalfs. And I will just say this: I have put myself forth publicly, regardless of what administration is in charge. I have put myself forth to be commissioner of e-commerce. I have, I've said it, and
he has my vote.
If that ever, the ecom czar.
Exactly. Ecom czar. Yes. And if that ever comes to fruition, we're going to be riding this thing together, brother. We're going to be riding it together.
Oh, I can't wait. You know me. If that position ever gets established, I'm going to want to be in the shadows.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to be doing your dirty work. I'm going to be just absolutely navigating the back hallways, like cracking skulls.
Okay. Nice. All right. But when we need to take a big fancy trip, I expect you on the PJ. That's what I'm saying.
Of course.
Okay.
Wouldn't miss it.
Go. Okay, great. Well, Alex, man, we really appreciate you joining, and we can't wait to have you back. And man, so love and appreciate Postscript being part of the show. Thank you, brother.
Of course. You guys are killing it. I'm super proud of you both. Can't wait to be